Hey, what's going on guys? Mark back in the workshop on Mark's Aquatics. Good morning or evening to you, whenever time you're watching this. Right, on this little video we're going to have a little go through the marine tank again, and I'm going to show you how I do water changes. We're going to have a talk about the aquarium, about what goes in, what goes out, different things, bit of etiquette on the beach, all that kind of stuff when you're foraging, and a little overview really. I've done a bit of pruning today as well, which is good. The weeds growing really well. And if you like these videos guys, and you like my channel, hit the old subscribe button. I'd love to have you aboard, be fantastic. Subs are going up quite nicely now, and we're getting quite a few views on this series as well, which is really encouraging me to make more videos for you to get down the beach. So give us a thumbs up, hit the old subscribe button and that notification bell for up and coming videos, okay? And you're not going to miss anything that way. And yeah, it's exciting. So I'm going to turn the thing around now, point it on the tank, because you're not interested in me, you want to see the tank, I know that. And then we'll have a look and we'll have a little chat, okay, about what's been going on this ride. My little girl there at the front, always keeping an eye on me these days, as are the gobies as well. Now I've just given everything a little trim in there because, believe it or not, well, apart from my phytoplankton, which I've got to put in today at some point as well, I'll move that to one side. I've just cut all that sea lettuce off of there. Look at that, it was absolutely growing so vigorously at the back. It took up that whole piece there in no time at all, and it was starting to slow down the water flow in the tank. So you've got to keep that circulation going all the time to make sure that detritus and things don't get held up and those nutrients and everything get dispersed throughout everything. So obviously in the sea it's a very strong current, and it blasts its way through that way and then retracts and then goes backwards and forwards, as you know the sea does with the waves and everything else. So that's what I've been doing. I've been taking out the dulse, has been growing fantastic up here. All that lovely red dulse, the pepper dulse as well is doing okay, that's growing. Now the coral weed has got a little bit of algae on it now. It's not as pink as it was. It was as pink as the coralline algae on the stones, but it's got a little... What happens when you first set up an aquarium guys, you get a thing called a diatom phase, which is like a it's a type of algae, but it's like a dust, it's like a brown dust, and it covers everything. You guys in the marine world will know about that. Now if you look at that stone there, that's going through that, that's got a dusting of diatoms on the top of that there. But as soon as a snail gets on top of that, well, it's like a curry to a drunk person, I should say. They absolutely love it, and they will go straight on there and devour that and polish that rock back up again. You can see the difference between this rock here and this rock here. That diatom phase is on that one, and the newest ones we've put on over there are still nice and pink. But in time this will all disappear. That diatom phase will disappear. This is a very new system still. I think we're only like 2 weeks into the third week now. Obviously I had help biologically with media and things that I had in the house, so I speeded up that cycle as it were. And also, like I said, the plants and the weeds and everything in here are feeding on any nutrients in the water that fish are producing, that the anemones are releasing after they've eaten the shrimps and the bits of mussel that I give them. That's all getting released into the water like it's nitrate, and that's what the plants feed off. These are basically just your garden plants. They're like weeds in the garden. They will grow as long as there's nutrients in there, like I've said in the other earlier videos. Now someone did say about putting a skimmer in there because it'll add more oxygen to the water. There's tons and tons of oxygen in this tank. The filter is releasing little bits of oxygen on about every 15 minutes or so. It gets a big purge, and I'll show you now. Actually, I've only got to just touch the filter and it will release a little bit of oxygen. If I give this filter a shove now, you'll see what happens. There you go, look at that. Now that's releasing that every sort of 20 minutes, and we get like a lovely big rock pool surge, just like you'd get as the breakers come in and they crash on the shore, fill these rock pools full of air, oxygen, oxygen rich water, and it goes around the tank. And it's doing that now every sort of, I would say every 20 minutes it's releasing. So maybe a little bit. There goes another one coming through now. It's constantly doing it. When you get wave makers at the back of the tank, I've got mine up in here. Now I've got it quite close to the surface, okay? Now every now and again I've got this pulse. It's not on a pulse. It's called Elise, I think it is. And basically what it does is it goes up and down the scale. Here it comes again. It goes up and down the scale from more powerful right down to low flow. See, and it does that every sort of hour throughout the hour. And what it does on its highest one as well, it'll actually vortex a little bit of air like that into that power head as well, and it will create another little surge of oxygenated water in, and it'll come around that way. Now my intake from the filter's just down here, and what it does is it sucks that air into there and puts it into the aquarium, into the canister filter. So it sucks in the canister filter, obviously builds up in the sponges inside, and then every now and again we get that nice little air release, like a wave going in there, like a little surge, and it works perfectly. But you've got to set it up right. You've got to have it just under the water and let it just suck in that little bit of air. You don't want it constantly full of air, but just every now and again it'll build up enough and release. So there's tons of oxygen in there, so there's no need for a skimmer. There's another little purge coming through now. But it's all interesting stuff. All the inhabitants are absolutely fine. I think what I'll do is I'll put some food in there for them, because she's patiently waiting for her breakfast lover, so we can't let her down. And you'll see the gobies come flying out like lunatics. They'll all start going mad in a minute, the anemones, and here's the gobies. They're out straight away. They like to stay out the way, more in the shadows, and pounce on their prey. Here she comes. Got to find her a little mate. Now she's still a little bit plump. I'm not sure actually if she's laid those eggs, but she's still looking as fat. So whether or not she's clearing up a couple of the shrimps in there, the smaller ones, I don't know. But she seems very, very healthy. We're going to try and get her on. Can't wait to get down the beach again, guys. Might be going down the beach again this weekend. If not, it'll be the following weekend. I want to get a really good tide this time, so we can get some awesome foraging done and make a lot longer videos, because you guys are after longer videos on this. So I really am enjoying making these as well. Like I say, it's taking me back to my childhood. It's taking a lot of you guys back to your childhoods. Rock pooling and with your mums and dads and with your kids and different things. It's absolutely fantastic. It really is. Here comes Mr. Goby down in the left hand corner there. He's decided to come out. Must have been asleep in amongst the weed. The black one is quite shy. Oh no, the black one's coming out as well. But I love the way they just hang in the current there, let them wait for things and then pounce on them. Boink, there he goes. He's got it. Brilliant stuff. Now I put the new rocks we had all the way around the front here because of those weeds that are growing on them. I think there's some dulse on some. There's other little species of weed on there as well. I'm not sure of those. They're very, very small yet, and then I haven't got a leaf pattern that I can identify them from. Mr. Hermit Crab's come out again. He smelt the food. Hermit crabs are fantastic for clearing up the gravel. What they'll do is they'll walk along and they'll shove that gravel in their mouth, and they'll take all the algae off of it and basically spit out nice clean sand again. So they're good little caretakers of the seabed, as is that little one creeping around in front there as well. Whoop. Shrimps are doing well. Mr. Gimpy Legs is doing okay. I think he's thrown off those legs now, and so next time he sheds he'll have some smaller legs, just like you see with crabs and lobsters do as well. Hope you guys have gone back and seen my other foraging videos when I was back in the Channel Islands. Going back there in July, I think it is, so we're going to be having loads more of those coastal foraging videos from the Channel Islands as well, which I'm really looking forward to, because obviously that's my home, and I know that place like the back of my hand, so I can take you to some absolutely stunning places there, and you really will enjoy those videos, I'm sure. Lots of different wildlife, different types of shrimps, fish. It's going to be good fun. Really looking forward to that. One thing I will say, guys, with these tanks, maintenance is cold. It's 11 degrees in that water, and when you've got your hands and your arms in there playing around, pulling things out, trying to use my long tweezers and tongs as much as I can, but your hands, I've got my little fan heater in here as well, and I've been having my hands in front of that, absolutely freezing cold. And then I go into my coral room and it's 25 degree water, and it's a joy doing maintenance in there, but on this one a wee bit chilly. As soon as I put my arms in the tank, those anemones all come out, all the beadlet anemones come out. You can see those snakelock anemones have already been picking up those bits of food out of the water. I'm not sure if you've been watching that, but they've blown right up now, those two, and they've taken and they're ingesting that food. There's another little bit of air coming out now as well. But the beadlets and the other ones come out when they sense any change in the water, and even when you put your hands in the water, obviously they're sensing you and food, as you know, bits of skin may be coming off your hands or your arms and different things in the water, and that triggers that response for them to open and get all ready for war, and to take some of those shrimps in and whatever they can catch. As with the dahlias as well, they've all come out. Now I moved the scallop from the bottom and I put him up there. Oyster, sorry, that rock oyster. I keep getting them mixed up. I put the oyster up there with that other dahlia on the top, just to keep it out of the way a little bit more, keep it off the sand. And I'm hoping now that that dahlia anemone is going to go onto the rocks and leave him alone now, because he keeps turning him over, trying to get underneath him all the time to get to the glass. So I'll put him up there next to a rock. Hopefully he'll travel along now and go onto that. He made short work of that, didn't he? Look at that. Those gobies are so quick, and they will literally attack anything that you put in there. I dropped a hermit crab in there the other day that he decided to climb up the glass and try and get out, and he came out and he had that in his mouth for a second until he realised it was a shell and spat it out again. So that was really interesting. Now a lot of you guys have been asking me as well about, is this illegal? They've been saying if you're in Australia or different other parts of the world, now everywhere has got its own laws on foraging, what you can and what you can't take from the shoreline. Okay, now in the UK it's completely legal to do this. Okay, there's plenty of websites and things saying how to set tanks up, and it's how to do this, how to do that. Obviously if you're taking scallops, if you're taking fish, taking lobsters, taking crab, you're only allowed, you've got to have a permit to do that, and you're only allowed a certain amount. Okay, I think it's every day or whatever, when you're taking other stuff obviously for food of the bigger crustaceans, I say, like lobsters and crabs. But when it comes down to anemones, seaweeds, all the little hermit crabs, all these kinds of things that I've got in here, it's completely legal for you to do it. Okay, so I encourage you to go out there with your children, and you know, if you want to start up one of these tanks, and get in amongst it and learn. I mean, that's why I'm doing this series of videos. I mean, I've been doing this for many years, and I've picked up a lot of knowledge along the way, and that's what I'm trying to push across to you guys. Okay, and so you don't make the mistakes that I did probably when I was younger, when it was too warm. People have been asking me all over the place, is there a chiller running on it? I encourage you to go back on my playlists, watch from #1 video when I set this up. It goes through all the running gear, everything that you're going to need for this. Now if you want to keep, one of the other questions was, is it necessary for a chiller? Well, if you want to keep the seaweeds that I'm keeping, yes, that water's got to be chilled down. Okay, if it gets to room temperature, it's just not going to work. I can tell you that from experience. It's not, just won't work. Things like gutweed, sea lettuce will work. Maybe that rack will work, I'm not sure. It could do, because in rock pools, as I've said in the other videos, the salinity can change very quickly, and so can the temperature. If you've got like a low tide, you know, midday, you know, and it's got the scorching hot sun on a rock pool for X amount of hours until the returning tide, then that rock pool is going to heat up significantly, and it's really going to take a beating from the sun. And obviously the salinity then, I'll get it right in a minute, is going to change. Obviously it's going to evaporate that water. Now with salt water, if you're unaware, when salt water evaporates, it's the fresh water that evaporates and the salt stays behind. So the salt, it gets more salty as that evaporation takes place. Okay, that's where you see those little crystalline rings of salt, and this is how salt's made. They put it on these big flats and they let the water evaporate out of it, and which leaves that pure salt behind, which they harvest and what you put in your chips. Okay, so unless it's pink salt mines and all that, and that's a different story, because someone's going to pick me up on that, I know it. Anyway, getting back to this tank, yes, this is what you've got to do. To keep those real shallow pool creatures like blennies, I'd say blennies, I wouldn't say gobies as much. Blennies are pretty hardy to warmer water, and it can get right up there, you know, like 30 degrees and something like that in these rock pools. It's been literally like bath water in some of them I've put my hands in over the years when I've been foraging for stuff. And that's what you do, you've got to replicate what you want to keep. There's no point going down there and putting all this beautiful stuff that I've got in here into an aquarium just to let it all die off, okay? Because it will happen to you. Without a chiller, I guarantee you it's all going to go, it's all going to die off, and you're going to have a massive spike, and it's going to wipe your tank out. So go back and see the individual videos that I've done in this list, and hopefully I've pointed out everything that you need to know, okay? And as always guys, if there's anything that you need to know regarding this system, drop it in the comment section below. You know I answer as much of your questions as I possibly can. Now I've got over 500 videos on my channel, and from, like you say, from breeding neon tetras all the way through to doing different breeding, loads of different species of fish. And if you're into your freshwater stuff, pop back and have a look at some of those guys as well. Just give me a thumbs up if you like these videos, and also hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you aren't going to miss any more of my videos when I put it up. Hit all notifications and they'll pop up on your laptop or whatever you're watching it on your phone, and you'll be notified when a new video comes out, okay? There you go. I thought I'd give you a quick bird's eye view of what's been going on in there. You can see it from the top, and it is just like looking in a little rock pool, isn't it? Magic stuff. Wow, okay guys, I've just come across something really awesome there. Now if you look at the painted top shell, you can obviously see that little barnacle there feeding away, but if you look around the base of the shell, you can see hundreds of little eggs. It's actually spawning there, it's laying eggs all over the rock. I'll try and get a little bit closer in for you, but you can see all those little individual eggs it's laying all over the rocks. Look at that. That's brilliant. Just shows we've got a very, very healthy system. There you go guys, there's a better view for you. A little bit more of an up and down view, like you'd be looking into the rock pool. Just a hermit crab is right over there, stuffing his little face with sand, cleaning off all that algae, and doing a grand job of keeping the place tidy. That's what you got to do. You got to find things that do a job in the aquarium. Lots of little snails. Well, I'll tell you one thing I will show you right now, and we'll have to go around the other side of the aquarium, okay? Okay guys, now you can see that painted top shell there right in the centre of the screen. Now if we zoom in, can you see all over the rock it's laid lots and lots and lots of eggs all over that rock, you see? Absolutely fantastic. Now that shows that this system is lovely and healthy. If they're laying eggs, if they're breeding, they're happy. Let's go down and see Mr. Man down here. I'll just close these tripod legs up. I'll show you how he cleans the sand. Show us how you work, mate. Look at that, look. He's throwing it in his mouth. Do you mind? I am having my lunch. That's what he does. He puts it in there, rolls it around, cleans off all the algae and the bits of weed, and he keeps the place lovely. Look at that. His shell now, you see, is getting a little bit of a fuzz on the top of it. That's just from like new tank syndrome. You're going to get that. You're going to get that algae. It's going to attach itself to anything. But if he keeps still, you'll end up with a snail on top of him, and he'll graze all that off. You'll get a winkle go on him and graze it off. He's also eating his old shed, look. That's going to help him harden up his shell and keep him nice and healthy, and really strengthen that exoskeleton up after his last molt. You can see from his legs how big his new legs are compared to the ones that he's eating. And claws. There's a claw there right down by the back of his legs there, look. Peach is doing alright up here. On those, as you can see all those little hollows in the mussels. They're all empty. And that's where the whelks and that gorgeous little starfish is feeding on them. Mr. Blue Anemone's looking awesome. Look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning that anemone is. As are the dahlias. The other one's coming out underneath now. And there's Mr. Bivalve, Mr. Cockle there, who was open a minute ago, but now he's decided to close. So maybe one of the shrimps has tried to get in there and pinch a little bit of his mantle and eat a bit of him. They do that. All the whelks, I think, have migrated to that barnacle stone, which is going to be a bit of a nuisance. So I'm going to have to get some more. I'll have to leave that one there because all those lovely beadlet anemones are all over it. Look. So that one can stay there, but what I'm going to have to do is I've left a gap at the back there to put in new mussels. Okay, sorry, not mussels, new barnacles for them to feed on. That's imperative because that's all they feed on. Okay, look at that. Happy days. Starting to get a little bit of a green tinge now on these snake locks, so hopefully they might green up anyway, like this one. This one's not really green, but it is slightly. It's coming on, getting a little bit more of that green tinge to it. Okay guys, there you go. Now when me and the wife were down the beach, she picked up all this new real estate for the hermit crabs. Look at that. Loads and loads of new shells to go in there. So as and when they start to look like they're going to shed again, we can put extra shells in and try them out and see if they want to hop into a new shell. I'll try and get that on video. I'll be interested in that in one of the other videos that we're going to do on this tank. So we'll plonk a couple of shells in and see if he wants to hop into a new shell. That'll be quite interesting to see that.